Hello there, long time no see. Welcome back to The Bad Word. I am your host, David Shelton, as always, and let's get this shit started. Let's talk about teachers today. Arguably the most important people in our society. Teachers are responsible for preparing us for the world, preparing our future workforce, and oftentimes taking its virginity. Mrs. Johnson, I will never forget our special night together. But specifically today, I want to talk about adjunct professors, the baristas of academia, since that they are overeducated, overworked, and they aren't paid enough to remember your fucking name. Adjunct professors are the unsung and underappreciated heroes of academics. As an adjunct professor, you don't have the same benefits as a tenured professor, which means you get less money. There's no research opportunities, no health care, and you can't even have sex with students without risking your job, and frankly, that is a travesty. Now, today, more than 50% of faculty appointments are part-time. Both part and full-time non-tenure track appointments are increasing, and non-tenure track positions of all types now account for over 70% of instructional staff. And that's insane that the majority of professors are affected by this. If the majority of people are affected by something, that should be taken into consideration unless it's an election, in which, fuck the majority. Also, sorry, Hillary. I don't know what to say. I hope you had fun in the woods with Yogi and Boo Boo. Tell them I said what's up. Anyway, the large turn towards cheaper contingent labor is largely a matter of priority rather than economic necessity. Now, while most institutions are currently suffering budget cuts, that is completely fair. The largest growth in contingent faculty occurred during times of economic prosperity, and most institutions have heavily invested in facilities and technology while simultaneously cutting instructional spending, which means that students have nicer facilities, but they're also likely to find fewer full-time faculty and who can provide their time, support, and resources. So the thing is about this is that the high number of adjunct professors isn't just wrong because of the cheap labor. This also affects the performance of the students. And the thing is when you give a kid a lot of money and resources, but you don't give them the intangibles, the love, the support, the guidance. If you don't give them that, you're not going to end up with a productive member of society. You're going to end up with another Donald Trump. And after the last 3 months, we don't need another fucking Donald Trump. Trust me. Now, according to a study done by Columbia University and the Community College Research Center, the large number of adjuncts actually has a positive impact on introductory course grades, but conversely, it has a negative impact on subsequent course enrollment and performance. And these negative impacts are stronger among supplemental adjuncts than those who have long-term employment contracts with the college. So students have more confidence in adjuncts who are on a long-term basis rather than those on a contingent basis, which makes sense. People have more faith in planning rather than short-sightedness. Like short-term planning versus long-term planning is the difference between this vacation and this vacation. And but the thing here is about students is that they're not dumb, no matter what their activities on spring break would suggest. Students know that adjunct professors tend to be less available, and if they have trouble with something, they're not going to get the support and the resources to help them overcome that adversity. And the thing is, unlike college athletes, the average student can't take paper classes just to get an A. Their futures rely on books, not balls. Actually, that's wrong. Yeah, because if you have loans, you're going to have to do a lot of stuff with balls, and butt stuff too. But enough about my issues. Let's just move on to executive pay before I start crying on camera. I'm kidding, sort of. At schools with the highest paid presidents, part-time adjunct faculty increased 22% faster than the national average. At schools, and at those same schools, permanent faculty declined dramatically. And by fall of 2009, part-time and contingent faculty outnumbered permanent faculty for the first time ever. And average executive pay at the top 25 schools rose to nearly $1 million a year by 2012. And when you pay yourself for all the work that other people do, that's not how you should run a school. That's how you should run a Donald Trump business. Not done with you yet, motherfucker. Just you wait, I got more heat coming. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Now let's take a look at adjunct pay. The Coalition on the Academic Workforce found that the median adjunct pay per course was $2,700. Now, because adjuncts work at a piece rate, their annual pay depends on the number of courses they teach. So, the U.S. House Committee on Education and the Workforce recently estimated that the median adjunct pay per year was roughly $22,000. That means that adjuncts have to teach roughly 4 classes per semester and 8 courses per a year just to make that much. But another question remains here. What about the hours? How long do adjunct professors actually work per week? Well, the university system of New Hampshire has a way to calculate this. What we're going to do is we're going to take instructional hours, which is hours in a classroom, add that to a factor of 1.25. Multiply this by required hours of construction plus any additional hours. So, excuse me, let's say you take you teach one 3-credit course per week. And that's 1 hour per class and 2 office hours a week. The way you're going to calculate this is 3 times 2.25, and then add 3.3 times 2.25 plus 3 equals 9.75 hours for one class. So, now we're going to multiply this by, let's say, 3, because adjuncts have to teach more than one class, so we'll say 3. So 9.75 times 3, that gives us 29.25. So 29.25 hours a week for teaching those 3 classes. Now, let's also calculate how much they make. $2,700 times those 3 classes is $8,100 per semester and $16,200 per year. $16,000 a year working 30 hours a week. But as a reminder, the average adjunct makes $22,000, so it's going to take at least one more class to get to that figure. Unfortunately, here's the problem. Most colleges cap adjuncts at 1 or 2 classes per semester, so in order to teach those 3 or 4 classes needed to make that $22,000, adjuncts have to teach at 2 to 3 universities at a time. So between class time, office hours, and traveling from one campus to another, we put adjuncts through the fucking ringer here. And to make this even worse, with all jobs in America, there exists a pay gap here. Women earn less than men on average at each faculty rank, and at most types of institutions. In each case, the most remunerative category is where women fare the worst. So the salary disadvantage of a female associate and assistant professor at all types of institutions is about 7%. And at the full professor rank, it reaches 12%. So it's just all of this is fucked up. But what about education? What about getting your PhD? Get a PhD, you'll make more money, you might get that tenure, you'll get health insurance, you can fuck all the students you want. Hey, might be fantastic. No. Nope. No, it doesn't work like that. In the words of our idiot president, wrong. Now, the thing is that adjuncts with PhDs don't even make much more than those without them. And the reason why is because we are actually devaluing the PhD. According to the Labor and Working Class History Association, quote, By devaluing the PhD as a credential for college instruction, college administrators have massively expanded the supply of job candidates, thereby allowing them to reduce the teaching salaries to poverty wages, which is wrong. See, colleges, end quote by the way, colleges have essentially used planned obsolescence to get the upper hand in hiring. They've done to college professors what Apple does to iPhones. They add arbitrary updates, or in this case, qualifications, to make them have to keep catching up until eventually, like certain things like a fucking master's degree won't even matter. Like, it's already said that a college degree today is like a high school diploma 40 years ago. And now we keep compiling the credentials necessary to do jobs that realistically shouldn't require them. Soon you're going to need a doctorate to be the assistant manager at a Burger King. And I'm pretty sure I could go to any high school in America, and that means any high school, even the like really bad ones. I'm pretty sure I could go to any high school in America and throw a rock and find someone capable of managing a Burger King. I could go to any high school in America and throw a rock, hit someone in the head with it, and give them brain damage, and they could probably still manage a Burger King. But let's look at how and what to change before I get really upset. It's easy to just say, pay them more money. But according to a study done by two professors from Georgetown and George Mason, the reason you can't simply pay adjuncts more money is because colleges don't have any more money, which is valid and completely non-refutable. Irrefutable? Non-refutable? Irrefutable. I'm going to go with irrefutable. It's completely irrefutable, except for the fact that I'm here, and that means anything is irrefutable. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't know. I don't care. As I was saying, the largest influx of hiring adjunct professors came during times of economic prosperity. And also, colleges invest a lot of money into the state-of-the-art facilities, technology, and executive pay. So, maybe if executives take a pay cut, colleges stop spending $222 million on sports arenas like the University of Oregon, or they stop paying old white guys $11 million to yell at poor black kids like Duke University. Maybe adjuncts can make more money than an idiot who tells jokes on the internet. And maybe, just throwing this out there, people wouldn't have to do porn to pay for college. And they could do it because their fathers didn't hug them enough like nature intended. Now, there is hope. Recently, adjunct faculty members at Duke University voted to affiliate with the Service Employees Union International Union. And, to make things even better, adjuncts at Tufts, Lesley, Northeastern, Boston University, and other schools have also voted to unionize. Now, currently, the SEIU has set a pay target of $15,000 per course, which is admittedly almost as preposterous as calling Bill O'Reilly a feminist. And even the union admits that this is a bit of a stretch. By one estimate, that would cost schools $20 billion a year, which is insane. But I have another solution. What if we tried $5,500 per course? Well, let's use the equation we used earlier to calculate this. $5,500 times 3 classes, which would equal $16,500, and that over 2 semesters is $33,000. Now, it's not the best wage, but it's above the poverty line, and you know what? That is a start. See, adjuncts do just as much work as those who have tenure, and in some cases they may do more, but they don't get the benefits, the money, or the respect for what they do. And I can't imagine what that's like, said a woman making 87% of what her male counterpart makes and sporting Michelle Obama levels of side-eye. Now, I understand that there is some nuance here. In a conversation that I had with a former adjunct professor, but he made it now, so he's good. But in a conversation that he and I had, he informed me that some adjuncts are at the top of their field, and they just don't need the money. So you have to differentiate between someone who's 30 years old and actually trying to make a career off of teaching, and someone who is at the top of their field and essentially just donating their time. But he also told me that there's another side to this. He told me that between teaching classes during the day, possibly during the night, trying to help students with their work after class, trying to hold office hours, grading papers and exams, travel. That is a lot of work to expect of someone who lives under the poverty line. And the thing is that this isn't just about adjuncts. This is about, this goes for the American worker as a whole. Like, I know I'm going to get shit for this, but who cares? Capitalism, yeah, I'm going there. Capitalism is about, at least the way I understand it, it's about getting the most of something for the least of something else. So let's not just look at shopping. Let's look at specifically Black Friday. And Black Friday is the day where we are at peak capitalism and simultaneously a low point for our humanity. It is the day where we want the most stuff for the least amount of money. Well, to me, labor has essentially become the same way. Adjuncts or executives act just like that American consumer, looking to get the most amount of a product, that'll be you and I, for the least amount of money. And that essentially takes the humanity out of your precious little untouchable capitalist system. That's if there was any humanity in it to begin with. Now, the mistreatment of adjunct professors encompasses the notion of executives in America treating people like products and exhibiting partiality over profit rather than the prosaic population. Why the fuck don't I get paid to do this? I'm so good. Anyway, joining unions, protesting in the streets and at town halls and writing and calling your congressman is all great, don't get me wrong. But eventually you have to go a step further because these executives, they only understand one thing. Back in the old days when talking didn't work, people had to resort to something else. See, all revolutions have one thing in common. When voting and protesting don't work, eventually you have to grab a Pepsi. Okay, that's the show. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am David Shelton. I have to go get ready for my flight with United Airlines. Okay.